Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
I'm super excited about today.
And why is that?
Today is Jackie Robinson Day. A lot of people forgot. I called lots of people today, and I just had to remind them, April 15th is Jackie Robinson Day. You ought to be proud. If you black, be proud. Jackie Robinson Day is here, 2015, that's right. 50, what was it? Not 50. Gosh,
57 years.
Yeah, it's been 57 years now since Jackie Robinson signed his first major league, big league contract to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers back in 1947. So this is a big milestone for black people, for this man in particular. It was good. It was good. I'm feeling good about that. Jackie Robinson signing in 1947 was a big deal. And in fact, a lot of people don't know this, but it was about 3 or 4 other players that signed, 3 or 4 other black players that signed major league deals in 1947. So Jackie Robinson was the first, but he was not the only black player to do it. I think 2 or 3 of them, they signed in July of 1947 with other various teams.
Right, I see. Okay.
I think the big thing about Jackie Robinson, first off, making a big deal about him. He was the first African American to sign a big league deal in 1947. Mm-hmm. Secondly, they didn't just give him anything. Okay, this guy, he really went through the ringer. They gave him a tough time wherever he went, and not only that, he persevered, not just by being a ball player, but he was a superstar. I mean, this guy turned out to be Rookie of the Year. So he was really good. Yeah, a Rookie of the Year in 1947. Mm-hmm. He was the MVP in 1949. He'd been to the All-Star game at least 5 or 6 times from like 1949 to 1953 or 54. I mean, 54. All the way from 1949 to 1954. You were an all-star every year. That's amazing.
Yep. So when was he inducted into the Hall of Fame?
From what I know, Jackie Robinson was inducted into the Hall of Fame in the 60s. I think it was 1962. And rightfully so. He was supposed to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was an awesome player. Not just the first black guy. Like, let's get over that. He was an awesome player. He was outstanding. He was remarkable. What was it? 2014, they made a movie, a biopic about Jackie Robinson. Movie was called 42. I thought it was a good movie. It was well put together. Maybe some older cats probably thought it was a little bit inaccurate as far as history is concerned. But just for people that didn't know who Jackie Robinson really is, or what he was really all about, I think it was pretty good. Branch Rickey, he was a baseball executive. The Brooklyn Dodgers, I don't know if he was the owner or not. I know he was one of the executives. He was calling the shots. And allegedly, he was the guy who gave Jackie Robinson a chance to break the color line and come into the major leagues. It wasn't against the law, but it was sort of the unwritten code, like Jim Crow laws back in the day. It was the unwritten code, to break the color line and let, black players come into the league and play with white players. Well, segregation in this country is sort of crazy, but, if you think about it, blacks have participated in every war in this country, but when you come home to the United States, I mean, you're treated some kind of way, you can fight in World War I, but you can't go to the baseball game, or you got to sit up top, or you can't go to the movie theaters. You can't eat a sandwich at the lunch counter. So segregation really was a bitch. It was a lot that black people had to put up with, especially, if you're going to be risk your life in the Revolutionary War, to fight tyranny against England, back in the 1700s. You had black folks fighting in the Civil War, because, you know, of course, they wanted to get the hell away from slavery, you know. Then there was the Buffalo Soldiers. They helped actually massacre the American Indians, or the Native Americans, I should say. That's probably not much to be proud of, you know, to massacre Indians, you know, the folks that was here. But, you know, those Buffalo Soldiers. Then there was, let's see, there was the 9th and 10th Cavalry from the Spanish-American War from the 1890s. There was World War I in 1917, 1918. That was the Harlem Hellfighters, the 365th Regiment, I believe it was.
369.
The 369th, right? Excuse me. Harlem Hellfighters. Go Harlem. Then it was World War II, like, let's not even mention the Tuskegee Airmen. You know, in World War II, black man in the Navy pretty much couldn't do anything but be the cook or the steward for the captain or something. You know, and things like that changed. So it was good in the 40s. Things started to change, and finally, you know, black folks can get some recognition in the military. If you're going to desegregate the military, why not desegregate baseball? You know, it had been segregated all the way since the 1890s, the 1880s, excuse me. Black gentleman was playing back in the 1880s, and they stopped that. It was like in 1884. And then in 1889, they just outlawed blacks from playing professional baseball altogether.
Now, in the 1880s, that was Moses Fleetwood Walker, correct?
Moses Fleetwood Walker, that's right. Yeah,
His
Google
brother
him.
Wedley.
That's right, and his brother. Wesley?
Wedley.
Wedley, excuse me. Yeah, Google that. Google that. Those brothers play baseball too.
Okay. Getting back to Branch Rickey, do you think that he wanted to break the color line simply to capitalize?
Yeah, he definitely wanted to capitalize, but I think what the question is here is some people would have probably called him a genius. Not because he wanted to capitalize and bring black people to the baseball games, or more black people, I should say, into the baseball games. But if you think about it, if you allow an African American to play in an all-white sport, see, there was already the Negro Leagues baseball. You know, they had their own style of playing baseball. You know, brothers like to show off, you know, just like with basketball, you know, they want to slam dunk and do freaky moves and all that. You know, it was the same thing back in the day with the Negro League baseball. Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson. I mean, these guys were amazing. Okay. But the genius thing about it is, if you allowed a few black people to come into the white league, then what would that do to the Negro League? Because you got all the black people coming to the white baseball game.
It would disband it.
And right. It would actually dismantle the whole Negro League.
Yes.
The Negro League would be dismantled because there would be no black people wanting to support the All Negro League, when in fact they could see black players play in the big leagues with the white players.
Breaking the color lines and making history.
Right, right. So, you know, these guys over here in the white league, breaking the color line and making history, who wants to go see the Negro Leagues, you know, after that? So some would say that was a genius move to disband the Negro League. Others would say, oh, that was a great business move, you know, because he got black people to come to the baseball games. But let's be honest, black people already was coming to the baseball game regardless. I mean, you got to ask yourself, you know, all right, there was a Negro Leagues, but ask yourself, why? Why was there a Negro League in the first place? What was the need for having an all-black Negro baseball league? What was the purpose of that? You know, because black people were excluded. I mean, excluded from everything, not just baseball. I mean, you couldn't go to certain restaurants. You couldn't go to the movies unless you sat up top. You know, you couldn't ride in a cab. You couldn't ride at the front of the bus. I mean,
they created a livelihood for their families.
That's right. Yeah, it's a lot of these black businesses. You know, just like the Negro Leagues. You know, you had hundreds of different black athletes This was a way for these guys to provide bread for their families. You know, these guys, they feeding their families by being athletes. You know, of course, there's still perks with, you know, being a professional athlete. You having a good time or whatever. But I mean, these guys were feeding their families as athletes. So if you got one Jackie Robinson into the all-white major leagues, what happens to the other 300 black people that's playing in the Negro Leagues who are no longer playing baseball?
Do you think Jackie Robinson struggled emotionally in his mind, going through all the name calling, all the threats he was getting?
You know, threats and name calling, I know Jackie Robinson went through hell. I mean, this had to be an everyday thing from 1947 all the way till he retired. You know, just constant people bothering him, you know, or threatening his life.
Now, I do recall, I did see the movie also when Branch Rickey told him he wanted a man who was going to not fight. I don't know the exact quote, but
I think he said, I think Jackie Robinson, you know, this is a biopic, of course, so we don't know if he really said that, but this is how the script was written. Jackie Robinson said something, and I'm paraphrasing. He said, "Do you want me to not have guts? You want a player that doesn't have enough guts to fight back?" And Branch Rickey says, "No, I want a player that has the guts not to fight back." You know, when you think about that, that's a pretty heavy statement.
It is.
You know, you need to have guts not to fight back, because it's easy to pick up a stick and hit somebody. That's easy. You know, that's real easy. But, you know, look at guys like Martin Luther King. Look at men like Gandhi. Okay, these guys just, you know, some folks might not have respected their strategy of nonviolence. But honestly, it's one of the best strategies that have ever been played in history. And the reason why it's one of the best strategies is because it does take courage not to fight back. And also, by not fighting back, your adversary how can I say this? By not fighting back, it's actually showing how evil your adversary is. If he's willing to go through the lengths of killing you, stringing you up in a tree, shooting you, tarring and feathering you, if you put him on display to show that this is what he's doing, these are the measures that he's taking just to hold you back, and what are you doing? You's minding your business. So this guy's doing all of this to hold you back, and you wasn't even doing anything? That's bringing evil to light. And I'm going to tell you right now, evil does not like the light. So whenever you see evil, shine some light on it. Whenever you see injustice, shine the light on it. You know, I tell people all the time, there's a new revolution. I'm a child of the 60s. I'm a child of the revolution. In the 60s, it was a little bit more violent, but there's a new revolution now. And believe it or not, it's going on right now, and no, it's not televised. The revolution is love. Gosh, it's so deep, you know. You just have to love your neighbors, because that's what's different. And what is revolution? It's a complete turnaround for what you know to be normal. Okay? You look around, you see all this reality TV, people grabbing weaves and throwing drinks in folks' face, you know? That's what you think reality is. It's reality TV. No. Turn that around. It's love. The revolution of that garbage is love. Mm-hmm. And there's more love and more forgiveness going on in the world today than people can even imagine. But if you stop and look, you'll see. It's going on. It is.
Everybody wore his shirt, his jersey number today.
That's right.
Was it retired or was it still going on?
Jackie Robinson's number 42 was retired in 1997. That was 50 years after his signing day. And in 2004, they named it Jackie Robinson Day. So today, all the players wore number 42. You know, there's a part in the movie where Pee Wee Reese, the guy who plays as Pee Wee Reese, he says to Jackie Robinson, hey, maybe someday we'll all wear number 42 so nobody can tell us apart. It was a heartwarming moment in that movie. You know,
a reminder of today.
That's right. Today we should all be reminded, you know, that we're all the same. Black, white, yellow, green, brown, whatever. We're all the same. And no matter what color you are, if you could hit a ball, you could come join this team. You know?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. It was a good day.
Very good.
Jackie Robinson Day. That's what's happening. Peace out, people.